Arnold Schwarzenegger just obliterated Jimmy Kimmel, and he did it center stage, right on Kimmel's own turf. It wasn't a casual jab or playful ribbing. No, this was a full-blown verbal demolition, delivered with the swagger of a Hollywood icon and the authority of a former governor. The audience? Electrified. But not for Kimmel. The cheers were for Arnold, a rare reversal in late-night dynamics where the guest seizes the spotlight and owns it. And let's not forget the setting. A predominantly progressive crowd applauding a Republican-leaning centrist as he dismantled one of their beloved late-night hosts. That's not just unusual, it's seismic. So what did Kimmel do to deserve such a takedown? Buckle in, because I've got the footage you won't believe, and trust me, you're going to want to see every second of it. The firestorm began when Arnold stopped by The View just last week. The panel, clearly ready to bait him into denouncing Donald Trump, lined up their questions with surgical precision. But Arnold? He didn't just resist the bait, he turned it into kindling. With calm authority and a touch of that signature Austrian steel, he launched into a takedown that left the hosts blinking in stunned silence. Enter Jimmy Kimmel, who apparently missed that episode. Hoping to succeed where The View had failed, he tried cornering Arnold again. This time over the Trump-era ICE riots. Big mistake, huge. Arnold didn't just deflect. He reversed the momentum like a political judo master, hurling truth bombs with the precision of a man who's seen both battlefields and ballots. The moment? Electrifying. Kimmel was visibly taken aback, his own audience roaring, not in support of his jab, but in admiration of Arnold's raw, unscripted truth. It seems like our president doesn't want to solve problems. He wants to create them. Boom. Just like that. The trap was set, but Arnold saw it coming from a mile away, and smashed right through it like a verbal wrecking ball.
I have to tell you, people always say to me, oh my God, what's going on in America right now and all this stuff. And I said to them, I said, relax. I've come over here in 1968, where it was a disaster. I mean, even the most fantastic country, but I came over here, 1968, Martin Luther King was assassinated. Bobby Kennedy was assassinated. There were the riots left and right because of the Vietnam, there were the protests. Then there was the attack on the Democratic Convention in Chicago. And then after that, there was Watergate. And the thing went on and on and on, where people said, what is going on in America? And we got out of that mess. So America will always get out of this mess. And we will get out of this, believe me, this will be solved, this issue. Los Angeles will always be a great city to come to. I'm very, very proud of this.
Now look, Arnold Schwarzenegger isn't without controversy. He's had his fair share of eyebrow-raising moments over the years. But in this moment, he was laser-focused, in total command. The legendary action star and former governor of California didn't just answer Jimmy Kimmel's clearly loaded question. He dismantled it with the precision of a seasoned political warrior. What made it jaw-dropping wasn't just what he said, it was how he said it. Calm, confident, sharp as a scalpel. He didn't blink, didn't stumble, didn't fall into the trap Kimmel had laid out. Instead, Arnold saw it coming from a mile away and shut it down with poise. And the twist? Kimmel's own audience, typically left-leaning and quick to side with their host, broke into spontaneous applause. You could feel the shift in the room. Arnold had taken control. With clear conviction, he praised Trump's ability to lead, to bring structure to the chaos, and to clean up the streets of a crumbling Los Angeles. It was bold, unexpected, and the crowd didn't boo, they nodded. Then, with that same steady fire, Arnold pivoted. He took aim at Gavin Newsom, calling out the governor's failure to act decisively in LA's growing crisis. No theatrics, no shouting, just cool, surgical accountability. And the room listened.
It wouldn't happen if the politicians would do their work. Think about it.
And it's not just applause Arnold Schwarzenegger is getting, it's support. Real, growing support from everyday Californians who are watching the political tides shift in real time. New approval ratings are painting a clear picture. Gavin Newsom's popularity is slipping fast, now down to 54%. A steep 7-point plunge since the last poll. That's not a minor dip. That's a political tremor, and the aftershocks are starting to ripple. This isn't background noise anymore. It's the sound of mounting frustration. Voters are growing tired of speeches that sound polished but deliver nothing. The fallout from the ICE protests, combined with a dragging economy, has turned simmering discontent into full-blown dissatisfaction. And while businesses shut their doors, taxes creep higher, and safety becomes a luxury instead of a guarantee, many are asking, where is the leadership? To critics, Newsom looks less like a governor and more like an actor auditioning for the national spotlight, focused on press hits instead of potholes. Meanwhile, Arnold's message. It's like a slap of cold water. Direct, blunt, unfiltered, and it's cutting through the political haze. He's not offering rehearsed one-liners, he's delivering reality checks. And just when you think he's stepping back, he steps in again, this time locking his sights on the legacy media itself with zero hesitation.
I think that what you're referring to is, of course, the protests that are going on
everything
in LA.
that's going on.
I totally agree with you, by the way, Jimmy, because they make it out to like it is a zone, the whole Los Angeles, the whole city or the county. And the fact of the matter is, it's maybe like 0.001% of the area of Los Angeles has problems and there's a protest.
Yeah.
And so I think that this is important for people to know, because I don't want all of a sudden tourism to suffer in Los Angeles because what they see on television, because the media sometimes shows it as if the whole Los Angeles is a big zone, which isn't really the case.
And that, right there, is the legacy media's favorite game. Take any issue, blow it out of proportion, bend the narrative just enough, and cast Donald Trump as the perennial villain in their carefully edited script. It's less journalism, more theater, complete with dramatic music cues and headlines crafted like tabloid trailers. But here's the plot twist they didn't see coming. Arnold Schwarzenegger called them out, and he did it with precision and power. In spotlighting the way the media sensationalized the ICE protests, he exposed something deeper, something far more damaging. The collateral damage they're leaving in their own backyard. By painting cities like Los Angeles as chaotic, lawless, no-go zones, they might earn a few viral clicks, but they're also slamming the brakes on tourism, choking investment, and scaring away families who could have fueled the city's revival. It's not just fear-mongering, it's economic sabotage, dressed up as news. Arnold didn't tiptoe around it. He sliced through the spin, made it crystal clear. If you really care about LA, you don't light fires with fear, you solve the problems with action. And just when the heat seemed unbearable, Arnold redirected the flamethrower, aimed squarely at the politicians still hiding behind talking points while the city crumbles around them.
I get very frustrated because we send those politicians to Washington to solve the problems. In all their eyes, instead of public servants, they're party servants. And I think this is really the bad thing about it, So it's just I think we should be public servants.
I'm sure there's a huge amount of truth to that.
Arnold Schwarzenegger is on a roll, dropping truth bombs with the precision of a man who's lived through real battles, both on screen and off. And the audience, they're eating it up. Not because it's flashy or rehearsed, but because it's real. No teleprompter polish, no partisan fluff. While most politicians speak in rehearsed sound bites, Arnold is speaking from the gut. And it's resonating in a way that cuts through the noise. He's not chasing headlines or cozying up to party lines. He's doing what leaders should do, calling out the failures with a steady hand and refusing to sugarcoat the damage. Meanwhile, those actually in power seem laser-focused on one thing: survival. Not yours. Theirs. Every move calculated, every press conference choreographed to win favor, not fix problems. Just take a hard look at Gavin Newsom. As California was engulfed by wildfires, by protests, by unrest, he didn't see a moment to lead. He saw a spotlight. Instead of stepping in during the ICE riots to restore calm and confidence, he let the turmoil escalate, thinking it might tilt public opinion against Trump. But it wasn't Trump who felt the fallout. It was the people. Everyday Californians, families, shop owners, workers trying to keep the lights on. Arnold didn't flinch. He called it out with a kind of fearless clarity we rarely see anymore. And in doing so, he finally gave voice to what so many have been shouting into the void for years.
Probably Donald Trump doesn't want you to be trusted because I don't think Donald Trump likes you very much, to be honest. True? Yeah. So, but I think the nature of the media is to show where, there's some guys robbing, looting a medical marijuana store, and then there's, a few Waymos on fire, and to put that together in a montage and make it seem like all hell is breaking.
Kimmel, clearly rattled by his failure to corner Arnold with his usual smug charm, decided to fire off a last-ditch Hail Mary. In a classic late-night ambush move, he lobbed a jab meant to spark tension. Trump doesn't even like you. It was textbook bait, served up with a smirk, designed for a viral gotcha moment. The goal? Stir up division, ignite drama, and get Arnold to throw punches at Trump right there on live TV. With the calm of a seasoned statesman and the finesse of a showman who spent decades owning the spotlight, he didn't just sidestep the trap, he dismantled it. Piece by piece. Instead of taking the bait, Arnold turned the question into a masterclass on maturity and leadership. He reminded the audience, with razor-sharp clarity, that it's this very addiction to petty politics, personal jabs, and media-manufactured feuds that's tearing our national conversation apart. It wasn't just a deflection, it was a full-blown reality check. And the crowd felt it. Applause erupted. Kimmel's grin faltered. The tension flipped. Once again, Arnold stood tall, not just as a guest on a late-night show, but as the one adult in a room full of noise. Oh, and just wait, there's an even funnier moment where he flips another one of Kimmel's traps on its head. Watch this.
That's the case here in Los Angeles right now.
No, well, first of all, let's just be honest. The whole thing has to do with the deportation.
Yes, of
And
course.
of course, this is a very sensitive subject to me because when I came over to this country, I was living in fear of being deported.
Were you?
Yeah, because at one point I did a movie that was so bad that I thought that the critics would deport me and send me back to Austria. Hasta la vista, baby.
You were worried that you were going to be deported for creative.
Kimmel, much like the ever-predictable hosts of The View, tried to run the same tired play, tugging at the heartstrings with Arnold Schwarzenegger's immigrant story, hoping to bait him into bashing Donald Trump. It's a move straight out of the woke media's oldest playbook: weaponize identity, dial up the sentimentality, and apply just enough pressure to provoke a soundbite-worthy slip. But Arnold, he didn't flinch. With the calm confidence of a man who's seen every trick in the book, he navigated the moment effortlessly, sidestepping the emotional ambush without so much as ruffling his tailored suit. It was another quiet masterclass in how to remain unshakably composed in the face of media theatrics. People often forget. This isn't just the bodybuilder turned blockbuster star. This is a political tactician who studied the game, internalized its rhythms, and learned to see manipulation coming before it even arrives. Arnold doesn't just respond to pressure, he disassembles it. Where even seasoned politicians often falter, stumbling over their own words or chasing applause, Schwarzenegger stays laser-focused. He knows exactly what's at stake, and more importantly, he refuses to be reduced to a headline. In an era overflowing with noise, his unflinching clarity cuts through like a blade.
I think that people who've been in this country for 25 years and who have had no criminal activity whatsoever should be granted the rights of U.S. citizenship.
What this is, what I'm talking about, is immigration reform. A comprehensive immigration reform will address all of
Would
those
include
issues.
that.
Yes, and also we would then be able to hand out more visas, temporary working permits, permanent working permits, the green card, and all citizenship, and all of those things. And we would know who comes into the United States rather than not knowing and having so many people here that we don't even know who they are and what kind of criminal activities they are participating in and all this. So it's a shame, the whole thing, because We have a country that needs workers, and when you look at south of the border, they won't.
Did you catch that moment? That sudden cavernous silence that fell over the room like a dropped curtain. It wasn't awkward, it was seismic. A collective hush, so thick it almost echoed. The kind of silence that happens when a raw, unfiltered truth cuts through the noise and catches everyone off guard. Arnold didn't shout. He didn't posture or try to score cheap applause. He simply delivered the truth, calmly, plainly, and it hit with the weight of a sledgehammer wrapped in velvet. And here's that uncomfortable truth he laid bare, the one few dare to say out loud. Every person living within a nation's borders should be documented. Not out of fear, not out of hate, but out of simple, functional logic. This isn't xenophobia, it's the basic framework of any sovereign nation. If a country doesn't know who is living within its walls, what they're doing, or why they're there, then how can it possibly protect its people or uphold its laws? Arnold wasn't drawing lines between us and them. He was drawing a line between chaos and order, between realism and wishful thinking. Someone who enters illegally or overstays a visa has broken the law, and laws, by definition, come with consequences. It's not cruelty, it's clarity. That stunned silence from the audience? That was the sound of people encountering something rare. Honesty unfiltered by politics or politeness. Arnold didn't just weather a media setup, he dismantled it, piece by calculated piece. He sidestepped emotional traps, bypassed the bait, and delivered a message that legacy media would rather keep buried beneath layers of outrage and spin. From daytime talk shows to late-night sound stages, he stood firm while others might have folded. He defended principle over popularity and reminded viewers everywhere that leadership isn't about clapping lines. It's about having the guts to speak truths that make people squirm. And that silence, that was respect, even if the crowd didn't know it yet.